this autumn has shown that there's a huge demand for interactive, inspiring and engaging solutions. And our clients are coming to us naturally because we are in a very strategic position when working with them. And that's something that I enjoy. This autumn is really showing it. And secondly, I have to say that measuring or maybe setting the commercial targets and then measuring the commercial success is a second topic, combined with this kind of interactive, integrated, inspiring, engaging solutions. And that's what makes us and keeps us in a very special position in the marketplace. So I would call that agile, inspiring and measurable marketing communication. And that's why we have invited Contagious magazine's Will Sansom to help. We have one session now in here, and then the second session starts at 3:10 in the same stage in here. So there's a change in the places. So Will's workshop at 3:10 is starting in here in the very same place. But that's the reason we have you here. Agile, inspiring and measurable marketing communication. Stage is yours, Will.
I'm from Contagious magazine. Hopefully some of you know Contagious. For those of you who don't, Contagious is a quarterly intelligence briefing publication. We look at the very best in non-traditional advertising, experiential marketing, contextualizing that with the best in emerging technologies, design, branding, pop culture, so on and so forth. It's a quarterly magazine that comes in DVD and online format. We've got a free weekly newsletter, so if you like what you see today, sign up for that by all means. We do bespoke intelligence feeds that we serve into a number of brands and agencies around the world, and we have a consultancy service. So that's what Contagious is, that's where I'm from. But what are we really about? We like to explain that with this quote. And this is taken from Douglas Adams, who is author of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is taken from his book, How to Stop Worrying and Learn to Love the Internet. And he says, anything invented before you were 18 has been there forever. Anything that turns up before you're 30 is new and exciting. Anything after that is a threat to the world and must be destroyed. Yeah, right. For us, this really sums up a lot of the old school thinking, which is still knocking around the industry. Okay, it's brands and advertisers and marketers hung up on the traditional model of reach and frequency, and not concentrating enough on what's really important nowadays, which is engagement. Okay, the fact is that people are so well connected. They know what content they want, they know where they can go to get it, and they want it now. It's like a quick fix culture. And in this sense, they can and will tune out of advertising. So you've got to find a way to stop people in their tracks. And at Contagious, we have a kind of mantra for brands and marketers. We kind of say to them, well, look, if you're going to stop people in their tracks, stop them from tuning out, you've got to make sure that everything that you do is either useful, relevant, or entertaining. Okay, if you can tick at least one of these three boxes, then you stand a chance of cutting through. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is adult entertainment, from one-night stands to meaningful relationships. What do I mean by this? Well, simply, it's not about a simple PR stunt, it's not about a kind of splash anymore, because, it's about more than a single purchase of a product, a single glance at one ad, a single click of a like button on Facebook even, you've got to do more than that now, because people can, like I say, can and will tune out. You've got to find a way to build a meaningful relationship with consumers. Okay, one way of looking at this is to say that when a consumer buys your product, it's like a one-night stand, okay? You've got no guarantee they're going to call you a week later by buying your product again. So how do you build that relationship with consumers? Well, that's what I'm going to be exploring today, with some campaigns that fall into those three categories of useful, relevant, or entertaining. But first, what I'd like to do is show you an example of a really great sort of splash, a really great viral campaign that had a really great effect, but then didn't sustain that relationship afterwards. Hopefully some of you will have seen this, and I think it's quite fitting, bearing in mind the choice of venue. So this was a campaign developed a few years ago, actually, and it was a huge viral success for Durex. 5.5 million views in 2 months, which is good, right? Those are really good stats to get on YouTube, even especially a few years ago. But what did Durex do after that? Well, not a huge amount. That was it. They're like, well, that's fine. This is a great viral success for us. Bonus. Move on to the next thing. In comparison, I want to show you what we can do now and what the best brands are doing now. So let me show you this one.
Hello, ladies.
Now, as well as winning the Grand Prix for film at Cannes, this has been something of a cultural phenomenon for Old Spice. This has been absolutely nuts. This has got close to 30 million views, I think, so far, this original spot. But the brand, Old Spice, and the agency, which was Wieden & Kennedy Portland, realising that each one of these ads on YouTube was getting just thousands upon thousands of comments. People saying, oh, I wish Old Spice guy would do this, or oh, I'd love to have him at my wedding, or I'd like to do this and that. They realised that people wanted to interact with him, with the campaign, and with the brand. Okay, so on top of their millions of views that they got like Durex, Old Spice said, right, what can we do now? How can we engage this audience? How can we build that relationship? So they developed a second stage of the campaign, which is called Old Spice Responses. And basically, you could connect with an Old Spice guy either via Twitter, via a Facebook status update, or via an email and say, look, you know, I'd really like you to do this, or could you beat a piñata with a dead fish, or could you show me how many weights you could lift, or this sort of thing. And then they literally got this actor into the studio, and in 3 days, they crafted 186 individual video responses to all these specific messages that people sent them. Okay, and it was all these different things. One guy even said, can you do a marriage proposal for me? So they said, yeah, sure. So they got this guy to literally say, Sandra. And he asked this guy's fiancée to marry him. And then he could post that video on YouTube, and millions of people around the world saw it. But these were all personal, though. These weren't generic responses. These are individual tweets that people had kind of served via real-time media to the brand, to the agency, and they responded in 3 days. 186 responses. It was quite incredible. And just to show you what that kind of a dialogue, that kind of engagement can give you beyond the 5 million views that Durex got. Well, 40 million views now, just these responses. That's not counting the original ads, which have got 30 million views by themselves. And Old Spice has now become the #1 all-time most viewed sponsored channel on YouTube. So it just goes to show, if people want to engage with your brand and they want to engage with the campaign, then do it, for goodness sake, you know, because they're there and they want to kind of be part of it and they want to interact. So that's an example of something that's really, really entertaining and a really good brand building an entertaining relationship with consumers. But what about being useful? Well, when we say useful, obviously a lot of us know this is branded utility. I think you can almost make it more simple than that. It's, you know, put simply, things must have a reason for existing. If you're expecting consumers to take time out of their routine, to play with something, to use something, make sure it's something that's useful, that they're actually going to, you know, want to spend time with. Otherwise, they're just going to put it to one side and carry on. So like I say, they know what they want and they know where they can go to get it. Early branded utility. It can be really, really simple. These Samsung PowerPoints are clever. This was because a Samsung executive realized that people in airports were fighting for the PowerPoints in the walls to charge their laptops or phones or whatever. And so he said, well, look, why don't we just create Samsung Power Terminals? They've got multi-adapters on them for different makes of gadget. You can go there, you can plug in your laptop, no matter what make it is, your phone. Some of these have free Wi-Fi. Just get a bit of juice, and it's all courtesy of Samsung. Very, very simple, but very, very useful. This guy, again, is quite old now, the UPS widget. You download him, he sits on your desktop, and he tracks parcels for you. He says, right, your parcel's here, it's in this postcode. He gives you news updates, weather updates, all this sort of thing. Very simple. We've since seen similar applications launched for iPhone, Android, so on and so forth. But it's a really good example of what we should call the dude we should do philosophy. Okay, it's people looking at this guy and thinking, dude, we should do this on iPhone. Dude, we should do this on Facebook. Just jumping onto a platform or technology without actually thinking. Okay, does the guy who works in the mailroom at a company necessarily have one or need a smartphone or an iPhone? Not necessarily. Does he need and use a computer? Yes, he does. So in this case, UPS widget is best sticking to a computer. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be on iPhone. So again, it's about thinking, you know, what's really useful, and you know, who's it aimed at, and what's useful for them, and building something around that. You know, mobile apps have come really far though. You know, I'm not saying poo-yah to mobile apps at all. This is an example of a really great one from Sweden, from Carlsberg. It's called Where There's Party. It uses GPS. The idea being that you download this, and at any given night out, this is in Stockholm, this works, you literally hit the button, it uses the phone's GPS, and says, right, you're located there, we know that there's that event going on there, there's a heavy metal night going on at that bar, there's a drum and bass night going on at that place, and it literally shows you, it hijacks Google Maps and shows you where all these different events are. More than that, you can then literally, you can hit a button which shows you where all your friends are. So all friends that are using the app, you say, right, it turns out that James is in that bar over there, and it turns out that Dave is there, so at a glance you can see where your mates are and you can go and join them. More than that, what you can then do is you can actually filter information. So you can say, right, I want to know what guys aged between 80 and 30 rather are doing who are into dance music, and suddenly it filters all the different Carlsberg, where's the party app users, and goes, right, they're all here. So you can work out what's kind of relevant for you, and it just tailors it to you. More than that, it also has a seamless integration with Twitter and Facebook, so if you've got friends who aren't using the app, if you do happen to then go to that bar, you literally just say where you are, and then using the GPS again, the app updates, pings that information directly to Twitter and Facebook, so all your friends who are on Facebook can go, oh, it turns out that Will's there at that bar tonight, I'll drop down there. A great example of brand utility that does just this is Best Buy's 12th Force, which won the Contagious sponsored Titanium Grand Prix at Cannes, which is the kind of top dog at Cannes. Basically, it's an after-sales service that operates via Twitter. So they've got a whole army of Best Buy employees who are on the end of at 12th Force. The idea being that when you get home, you just bought a new laptop and you can't work out to turn it on, you literally shoot a tweet to these guys at 12th Force, you know, just bought a new Samsung E310, can't figure out how to do this. And they'll shoot you a response, 140 characters straight away. Have you turned it on? Have you done that? Have you done this? All this sort of stuff. So literally, you can get that after-sales service straight away, even after the store's closed. They work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, even on Christmas, because that's when everyone's getting loads of cool new stuff, right? But they can't get to the shop to work out how to work it. So these guys are doing that. And you just think, well, once you've got that kind of after-sales service, why would you then go anywhere else when you need to get something else from Best Buy? So again, it's creating like a really, really simple but really meaningful relationship with the consumer. I'd like to talk about kind of, you know, how you use technology to make things relevant for people, you know. I want to show you an augmented reality campaign now. And I know at the beginning, Ola in his introduction said that augmented reality is one of these things that everyone was talking about at the beginning of the year. You know, dude, we should do it again. Dude, we should do augmented reality. And then now we're on to vision-based augmented reality. That's fair enough, you know, but honestly, like if I asked half my friends what augmented reality was, they probably wouldn't know. Right? If I asked my mum what augmented reality was, she'd probably think I was talking about a hip-hop group or something. I don't know. But, you know, so I kind of think, well, look, we haven't even really explored augmented reality yet. You know, that's because a lot of brands and advertisers bolted it onto a campaign thinking it's the new gadget. But this is a campaign that uses augmented reality, it's from Japan, to completely rethink something which has become really stale and stagnant, which is vouchers. And I'll show you how it works. It's from Dentsu and it's called iButterfly. So literally, depending on where you are in Japan, you see different augmented reality butterflies flying around. You can catch them. They turn into coupons that you can then redeem at local stores, or you can swap them with friends. And it's just absolutely brilliant because, like I say, you know, it shouldn't be campaigns starting with the technology. We have to do Foursquare, we have to do augmented reality, we have to do Facebook. But this is an example where they said, right, how can we use technology to make things more relevant for people? So this is directly relevant to where you are and what kind of, you know, products you want to go and buy. But just use a really slick example of technology to do that, which is why we love that. And that's created by an ad agency, Dentsu, and it's launched in Japan, and they're starting to roll it out in London, and then it's going to be in New York as well. So it's definitely one to watch out for because it's an absolute peach. Thank you very much.